Getting this every day. Okay. So, did you watch the yesterday's class, Vishal?
Not till now, Anusha. I'll watch like yesterday's and day before yesterday's class today only.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah.
So, if you want to get the data from the subject, you need to subscribe to this, okay? And you can just print console.log of data. Suppose if you want to store any data in the subject, what you will do? You will do this dot new subject dot next of and some data you can give. For example, Anusha. Now tell me how many times this callback function will get triggered?
Only one time.
Once.
Why? Initially, there will be something, right? Okay, let me just show you.
2 times, Anshu.
2 times. Okay. So whenever we update the data of a subject, the subscribe will be keep on triggering. Okay. That is the use. And what is the behavior subject? What is the behavior subject?
It will, we have to give a default value for.
We have to give a default value for the behavior subject. But in case of the subject, we need not to give any default value. Okay. Suppose if you are trying to remove this Anusha keyword, see, it says expected one argument but got zero. Means this is like function invocation, right? Using using brace, using these braces is called function invocation, right? So expected one argument, which means that we need to pass some argument to functions. Am I correct? So it is expecting one argument, but got zero, which means that we haven't provided any argument. Okay. So we need to give some default value, which is nothing but since I have specified the string, you can give any string name. Okay. And if you want to get the current value of a behavior subject, what we need to do?
Dot value. Dot
Dot.
value method.
Tell me. Tell me how to get the current value of this sample behavior subject. If I dot value of what? What you said is correct, dot value, but dot value of what? What variable?
Sample behavior subject.
Yeah, sample behavior subject. So this dot sample behavior subject dot value will give the current value of the behavior subject. What is the current value right now?
Anusha.
Anusha. Okay. And suppose for updating any value for the behavior subject, what we will use? Which method we will use?
Next method.
Next method. Okay. And we can give. Now, what value does this console log will print?
Anusha and Teja.
Anusha and Teja.
Teja.
It's only print the current value.
So what this dot value will do, it will give the latest value. Am I correct? The first value is Anusha, and with this line, the Anusha got updated with Teja, and the current value now will be.
Teja will be.
Okay, very good. Now, if I say this dot sample behavior subject dot subscribe. So even with the subscription, we can get the value. Okay. Suppose let data, okay, console.log of data. Now tell me how many times this subscribe block will, this callback function will get executed?
2 times.
2 times.
2 times. Very good. One for Anusha, the initial value, and next we have updated with Pooja. That's why it will trigger again. Whenever the value is updated, it will get triggered. Okay. Suppose if I place this after this line. Okay. Now, how many times will it print this subscribe?
Only 1 time.
Only one time. That too, what will be the value printed?
Teja.
Teja. Teja will be printed. So it is taking the initial value. With this, we have updated. Subscription we started doing at line number 61. So by the time we have subscribed, the value will be Teja by default and Teja will be printed. Okay. Now if I give Teja with Vishal, okay. Now how many times this will print?
2 times.
2 times. One for?
Teja and another for Vishal.
Okay, very good. Okay, let me just show you. Data 62. Sorry. You are seeing, right? One for Teja and one for Vishal. Might be after some time I was updating. Yeah. You can see here I was updating with Kavyashree. Okay. That's why it printed that many times. But you can see it didn't print any value related to Anusha, which is the initial. Okay. Since even before subscribing, we have updated with Teja. That's why it didn't print Anusha. Okay. Any doubts so far?
No, Anush.
Okay. Okay. For you, Vishal?
No, Anusha, getting it almost.
Okay. 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 Yeah. Now we talked about services. So, or let me talk about the at the rate of output decorator. So, how to pass data from parent component to child component?
At the rate of output decorator is
I said
Input.
from
Input.
parent to
Input.
child component.
at the rate of input.
At the rate of input decorator. But what are the initial steps that we will do to pass the data?
We should create a param first.
Very good. So suppose if I want to pass the data to my app child component, which is the child component here. Okay. Now what should I do? Suppose, okay, let me have one variable here. Just give me a moment. Now tell me, if I want to pass this parent data, okay, to the app child component, how can I do that?
Data from parent using.
Any variable you can give. Tell me one variable other than the data from parent.
We can also write like parent data or anything.
Yeah. For example, sending data. Okay. And this will be initialized with what variable here?
Uh, like parent data.
Parent data. Okay. Now, how should this child component should access that data?
Uh, using string interpolation.
I said, so we are sending some data. Am I correct? The child component has to receive that data, right? How it will receive?
@input.
Okay. At the rate of input decorator. Okay. I will give at the rate of input. And then what? What will be the variable name now?
Parent data.
Why parent data? What is the variable name you are assigning here? Parent data is
Sending,
getting assigned to what variable?
Sending
Sending data.
sending data.
What variable you should use here?
Same Anusha, sending data.
Sending data. Okay, and it is of the type string and initial value I'm giving 0. Suppose if you want to access it in the ng on unit lifecycle hook, you can take it like console.log of sending data. Okay, and I can just print it here. You are seeing, right? Parent from data. Do you see?
Yes.
Yes, Anush.
Apart from that, you see, we have ng on changes lifecycle hook. You can see it is receiving some simple changes parameter, right? I am even printing the changes, you can see. So if you see here, I was sending, see, current value received is parent from data. Previous value is undefined. Are you able to see these changes?
Yes, Anush.
Yes, Anush.
Yes, Anusha.
Yeah. So suppose if we have one button here, okay, let us create one button in the parent component, okay, not in the child component. Let us have one button and let me call it parent button. Okay. And how to attach a click handler for this?
Using
Using
command.
click in the parents event, right? Which means it's a method. Now what we should do on click, what should happen?
We have to invoke
We have to call one method in the app.ts, correct? Whenever a button is clicked, if you want to do some operations, you can do that. Okay. Parent button clicked. Okay. Let me keep this function name. Okay. And what we are doing, we are invoking the function. First, the function should be there, right, to invoke it. That's why it is giving this error. Property parent button click does not exist on the type app component. Okay. So it should be there, right? Then only we can invoke it. So I am giving the method. Okay. I am giving the function declaration here. Now what I will do, I will change this data. What is that? Parent data, which is being passed to parent data being changed when parent button is clicked. Okay, I'm giving this. Now what will happen? this parent data we are changing, and the changed value should go to the child component. Am I correct? Yes or no?
Yes, Anusha.
What I have done, I have created one button in the parent component. Okay. So to my child component, initially the parent data, whichever is passed, will be passed. Okay. And when button is clicked, that updated data also will be sent to the child component. That is the motto of what I'm trying to tell you. Okay. Let me just refresh the screen. You can see first it was sending data from parent. If you see the changes, you can see here previous value is undefined, current value is parent from data. Okay. Now let me clear this console log. Now what I will do, I'll click this button. Now you can see the ng on changes lifecycle hook got triggered, right? So since I have changed the input value which is being received in the child component, ng on changes lifecycle hook got triggered, and you can see this changes object, right? Previous value was parent from data, but the current value was parent data being changed when the button is clicked. Able to understand, right? Are you there?
Can you repeat it again, Anusha?
Oh.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what I said, here I am trying to explain you two things. Okay. One is, let me close everything. So what is the initial value of parent data? What is the initial value of parent data? What is the initial
Parent,
value?
parents from
Parent
data.
from data is the initial value. And are we updating this variable data anywhere else? Are we updating the value of parent data anywhere else?
Yes, I
So
think
Yes, where we are
when
child
when
component.
so we
parent
are
button
changing
clicked,
in
we are
this method. Am I correct? Initially,
yes.
the value is parent from data and it is getting changed at this place. Okay, parent button clicked method, we are changing again the value. When is this parent button clicked method will get executed? Whenever a button is clicked, then its value will get changed. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Now what I said, do you remember the ng on changes lifecycle hook, right? I said it is the first lifecycle hook and it will get triggered whenever the value of input or the parent data received changes. Whenever the data changes, this lifecycle hook will get triggered. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yes, Anusha.
Okay. Now, what I said, if coming to JavaScript concept, what will be an initial value of variable?
And data from parent from
If we are declaring any variable in the JavaScript, even before a single piece of code got executed, what will be the initial value? Undefined, right? Undefined. Okay. Then what will happen? These undefined will get replaced with this initial value parent data. Okay. So undefined got changed with this parent from data. Am I correct?
Anusha.
That's why there was a change in the data. Since this app child is receiving this input data from parent or sending data, this is the one, right? Sending from data. So whenever this sending data changes, this ng on changes lifecycle hook will get triggered. Okay. For that purpose, now what I'm trying to show you. Now you can see ng on changes method called. Are you able to see?
Yes.
So if you see, there is one param called changes, right? In this, we will get to know what is the current value and what is the previous value of the variable we have received from the parent. Okay. So if you just expand it, you can see the key value as sending data. Am I correct?
Yes, Anusha.
If you can see, what is the previous value?
Undefined, the initial
What is
value.
the current value?
Parent from data.
That is what I am trying to tell. So what I'm trying to tell, whenever there was a change in the parent data, this ng on changes lifecycle hook will get triggered. Okay. Now what I said, this button in the parent is changing the variable which is being passed to the child component. Now what will happen? Again, ng on changes lifecycle hook will get triggered. Okay. Now let me click on this parent button. You see, ng on changes method is called, and if you see sending data as a key, and you can see the values, right? Previous value was parent from data, but the current value as parent data being changed when the parent button is clicked. That is, whenever the button was clicked, I was changing some data, right? That is being assigned. You understood?
Yes, Anusha.
Practically, I was showing the ng on changes method lifecycle hook. Teja, Kavya, Jansi, did you understand?
Yes, Anusha.
Or shall I repeat it once more? Shall I repeat it once more, or you people understood?
Yes, understood, Anusha.
Okay. Okay. So in interviews, they will ask what is ng on changes lifecycle hook and all. And you can observe one more thing. Okay. Let me just refresh. You are seeing something called first change here, right? One attribute. Okay. You can see, right? It was false, which means that I'll show you. So if you see here, you can see first change true. Am I correct? So first change true means whether it was the first time I am changing the value of this sending data. Okay. In case of loading the page, undefined got replaced with parent from data. So this is a first change, like first time I am changing the data. Okay. Suppose if you are clicking the parent button, now if you see the first change, it will be false, which means that this was the second time I am changing the data. Am I correct? Am I
Yes,
correct?
Yes, Anusha.
That's why it is not a first change. That's why it is shown as false. First change. False. Okay, got it?
Yes, Anusha.
Okay. So this is about ng on changes lifecycle hook. And now I was telling the how to pass the data from parent to child. So you people understood, right? Now we can even pass data from the child component to parent component. How can we do that?
The rate of output operator.
Not
Decorate.
decorator. Anything starts with at the rate is called as a
Decorator.
decorator. Anything that starts with a at the rate is called as a decorator. Okay. If we want to pass data from the child component to parent component, we will be using something called at the rate of output decorator. Okay. And you will give some variable name, and you need to specify it as an event emitter, which means that some event has happened in the child component, which is notifying the parent that to receive that data from the child to parent. Okay. So for that, you will be using event emitter equal to new event emitter. If you are invoking like this, then only you will get that all the methods accessible. Okay. Otherwise, you will not get it. Okay. Suppose let me remove this. You can directly see here the error. Property child data has no initializer, and it is definitely assigned in the constructor, which means that initializations and all, we will do it with the new keyword, so that all the methods will be available for this child data. Okay. And how you will pass? Okay. Suppose this child data, how you will pass? imagine there is one method, okay? There is one button. And whenever you click this button in the child component, you want to update the parent that some data I am passing from the child to parent. So that you will do by using emit. Okay, you will use emit function, emit this data to the parent component. That is the meaning. Since it is an event, this will be accessed like an event in the app component. Okay. For example, you can see like this. Since it's an event, click means what we are doing. Click we are appending, right? Click is an event. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So here, this also an event emitter means this is an event. So we will bind it in the braces, okay? And whenever this child data has been received, what you need to do that you will give it. So I am calling this child data method, which this dollar event is nothing but the data that is being sent from child to parent. And if you go to the child data, okay, and you can see the data that is being sent. Okay, let us do it practically once more. Okay, and what is the first step if I want to send the data from child to parent?
@output.
@output decorator I should use. Okay, and then
Child data.
sorry,
We have to give a name.
name for the data. Okay, what we will give?
Child data.
Okay, child data. Okay, and what should be the type? What type of data you want to send?
Event emitter.
It is of type event emitter. This event emitter, what type of data it should emit?
String number water.
Whatever we want, we can give it. Let us specify string. Okay, equal to new event emitter. Okay, and I guess two are there with the same name. That is why it's giving child data 2. Okay, now if I say, okay, whenever this button is clicked, okay, emit some data, then what you should do? Whenever this button is clicked, emit some data to the parent component. What you should do? I said, whenever this button is clicked, emit some data from this child component to this parent component, app component. What we should do now? What are the next steps?
Use emit operator.
Emit method we should use. Where we should use the emit method? Whenever this button is clicked, what is the method that is being executed?
Invocation happen. We're invoking that.
Yeah, which function we are invoking here? Or which method we are invoking here?
Chi-
Sorry? Teja, you are trying to tell something?
Child data 2 here.
Child data?
2.
What you are seeing here? What is this?
Button.
Button. What is the name of this button?
Child button.
Child button.
What the name of the button is? Child button. Any events has been attached to this button? Are there any events for this button?
No. We have to give event.
Yes.
There are events attached for this button. What are those events? What event is attached here?
Click.
Click is the event which is attached to this button. Whenever I am clicking on this button, which method is getting invoked? Which button is getting invoked? Which
Child
method is
button.
Click
getting
button.
invoked? Sorry, Jansi, can you?
Child button.
Child
Child
button is the name, right? What is the method name here?
Child button click.
Child button clicked is the function, right? What happened to you? What is this? Braces. What is the before?
In
Function name before, right?
function location.
Confused. Now, where should I check this button? Sorry, where should I check this function? This function declaration will be available in the HTML file or in the TS file. So I said, whenever the button is clicked, we are invoking this method called child button clicked method. Am I correct? So where is the declaration of this child button clicked method?
.ts file.
.ts file. So if this is the child component.html file, which TS file we should check?
Component. Yes.
Tell me the full name, na?
App component.
Hey,
Child component.
child component.ts file you should look into. Button is there in the HTML. Method will be available in the child component.ts file, right? Where
Yes,
you are
Anish.
sleeping? Your dreaming might be. Where you are dreaming? Teja,
Sorry, I was not focusing.
where you are dreaming?
Oh, there is nothing like that. You can continue the class.
Okay. So whatever variables, whatever functions we will give in the HTML, no, that respective TS file, they will be available. Okay. If I'm invoking the function here, then function declaration will be available in that particular child component.ts file. Okay. Understood? I said now emit some data to the parent component. Okay. Use in the whenever this button is clicked. You know that we should emit the data using emit method. Am I correct? Now, what is the output decorator we are using here? Child2. Using this child2 variable, I need to emit some data to my parent component. So I need to write some piece of code in this line, right? Child button clicked method. What should I write?
Child button clicked.
Okay. I said the name of
This
our output data variable is this thing. Now tell me what should I write?
This dot child data to
data 2 dot emit.
This dot child data 2 dot
emit
emit of what you want to emit to the parent component.
String data.
Anything you tell. Child data to being passed to parent. Okay. So this data will be being passed. Now we are emitting some data, but the parent component should receive some data, right? How it will receive? It is an event, and how should we bind it into our app component.html?
we have to click the TV. We have to click that.
Sorry.
App child data. App child data.
This is an event, I said. If any event, this output, we are making use of event emitter, which means that this child data is an event, right? How to access this? Whenever it has been emitted, the parent component should know, right? whenever this event has emitted, then execute this method. It should know, right? So for example, we have attached click and we have calling this method. So it will know that whenever a click event happens, we need to invoke this method. Likewise, whenever output data has been emitted, we need to attach one event here. And whenever child data has been emitted, that particular method will be called. Okay. How to attach that event of child component in our parent component? How to do that?
Dollar event method.
You need to give like this, right? Attaching, you need to use the braces. Okay. Then what is the name? Event name. Child2 is the event name. So whenever this event happens, call some method. Okay. Which method? Suppose if I am checking, if I am telling child data method. Okay. So you are saying, right? So whenever the data has been received, this method will be clicked. This method will be executed. Now where this method will be present? Where will be the function declaration of this method will be present? Just now I am telling. This is function invocation. Am I correct?
Yes.
Where will be the declaration will be?
Child component.
Component.
Ayyo, I will kill myself. What is this file? App component.html, right? What I said, where will be the function declaration will be there? App component.ts file, right? That corresponding TS file will contain all the variables and functions.
Functions.
Not like this. Let me create one tab, please. Now tell me, I gave a word called title. Am I correct?
Yes,
or
Anush.
no? Where this title will be available? What is the file name here?
Component.html.
Where will this variable be present? Where will be this title variable will be present?
App component.ts file.
Then you have given this method. Whenever child has sent the event, this method is being executed. Am I correct? Where will this method will be present? Okay. You have given name, variable name, right? Where this variable will be present?
.ts file.
So where will this method will be present?
.ts file.
Which .ts file?
App component.
App.
Why are you getting confused? It will be present in the TS file. Whatever we are giving here, the function names will be present in TS file. Okay. Just in case of passing the data, you are just using the name of the output emitter as a name. That's it. But whenever this event happens, you are telling this method to be executed. That's it. Okay. If I tell, now what is happening? Button is there. Click handler is attached. Whenever you are clicking this method, what method is being invoked?
Function invocations.
Function invocation. What is that function name?
Parent button clicked.
Parent button click.
Parent button clicked. Where this parent button clicked will be available?
In app.component.ts.
Very good. In the app.component.ts. Similarly, instead of click, we are telling an event, right? Similarly, the output data we are sending here, this is an event. This child data too is an event. That's why we have told it as an event emitter. Since this is an event emitter, whenever we are emitting, whenever the event has been emitted from the child component, that event we need to capture in our parent. Okay, that capturing you are doing something like this. Okay, whenever event is emitted, then what you will do? You are invoking some function. What is where this function will be available?
.ts file.
Which .ts file?
App component
App
.ts.
dot
That's it, simple, right? With practice you will get. Okay, I told these things in the yesterday, but still you people are not able to tell today. Are you people really practicing? Only with the practice you will get these things. Okay, you are not practicing for my sake. You are the people who is gonna work, not me. I will not do your work and all. You need to understand everything. Okay, if you are getting stuck, if you are not understanding, just ask me to repeat it once more so that I will try to explain. Now you understood this concept, or shall I try to explain once more?
understood.
Understood.
Kavya, Jansi.
Understood.
Now tell me, I will be creating one more event emitter. Okay. And at the rate of output decorator, and let us name, okay, child data 3. Okay. And it is an event emitter of type string. Now, let me tell you, whenever this button has been clicked, or let me create one more button. So whenever this button has been clicked, I want this output emitter to emit some data to the parent component. How can I do that? Whenever this button has been clicked, using this output emitter, emit some data to the parent component. Is the question clear? Yeah, now tell me.
Using emit child component .ts using emit operand.
Okay. You are telling emit method we should use. This dot child data 3 dot emit. But where to place that line? Where we should place that line?
Child component .ts.
This dot child
Child component
data
dot
3
ts
dot
file
emit.
only. In which line we should place this code? I said, whenever the button in the child component is clicked, we need to emit this data. Now, where should I do this dot child data 3 dot emit of some data? Where should I write that line?
Child component .ts.
In child component only, that also I know. Where in the child component? You will write that line at line number 1, line number 2, line number 3. Where you will write that line? Vishal, can you try?
I think we can write it in line number 11 here.
Why? What I said, whenever a button is clicked, we need to emit some
Yeah.
data.
Yes, Anush.
Teja? Sorry?
18th.
What is happening whenever button is clicked? What method is executed here? Which method is called or invoked? Child button clicked method is invoked. I said whenever the button is clicked, you need to emit some data. Then where you will write your piece of code? You will write inside this function. Am I correct?
Yes.
Am I correct? You are telling
sir.
this line number, you will place it at here. Whether it will be true, what I said, whenever a button is clicked, then emit some data. Whenever it is clicked with method is getting executed, this method, so you need to write that line of piece of line in which method? This method you need to write, right?
Child button click.
Yes.
Now, some event has happened in the child component. The parent has to be notified for that event. So what we will do?
Dollar event.
We need to attach that event to the parent component. Am I correct? What
Yes,
is that
Anusha.
event name?
Child data 3.
Child data 3 is the event name. Very good. Okay. Whenever this child data 3 is clicked, what I wanted to do?
Child data.
I want to invoke any method. Okay. You can just write any method in your TS file of app component.ts and you can access whatever is passed. Okay. That access, you will do it using $event so that you will get the value. This $event is the value that is being passed from the child to parent. Okay. Some event has happened. That value of that event is this $event. Okay. And the child data in the TS file, you can access this $event value. Any doubt so far? Please practice this tomorrow and everyone take a stack bliss. Okay. Take stack bliss Angular, create one child component. Okay. Pass the data from parent to child and child to parent and show me on the tomorrow's class. Okay, you need to execute it and show right in front of me tomorrow. Got it?
Okay, Anusha.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Everyone do that and come back for the tomorrow's class. Okay. You know, right? Stack bliss. I have given at the first day itself. Create one component inside the child component, access it in the app.component.child, send some data from the parent component to the child component and send the return data from the child to parent using this output event emitter and show me. Okay. And if you want to check, you can see here, you open new tab is there. Now you can check your entire thing here. You can just open your console and you can see all the console log statements here. Okay. Just do that and come back for the tomorrow's class. Bye, everyone.
Bye, Anusha.
Bye.